What's our favorite Paul Rudd bit? And I'm going to start.
Bobby Newport never had a job.
Bobby Newport never had a real job.
Bobby Newport.
I gotta go Conan. Him doing that Mac and Me every single time, even on the podcast. It's a brilliant waste of time.
Ant-Man's coming out, so we thought we'd do Paul Rudd.
And the Chiefs just won, so.
And the Chiefs
Let's
won.
date this video, shall we?
Yeah, let's just...
No. Is this the first time they've won? Is this the second time they've won?
Today's date is February 13th, 2023. So now you know.
We've really
now
dated
you know.
it. We've actually dated it.
Before we get into movies, let's do some honorable mentions
Okay.
really quick. Just basically his TV stuff.
Yeah.
Friends.
Friends is maybe, like, his character alone better than, this is controversial,
The whole
the
show?
entirety of Friends. His character's so good.
Yeah.
I've not seen those episodes. I was Seinfeld growing up, not Friends, so
There's something about, it's just like, that's, like, you knew he was, like, super charming. That's where I think, like, he really kind of hones that, like, I'm charming and I'm cool.
You know how I know Zach is younger than us? Because he doesn't realize that Seinfeld and Friends are on the same night.
I don't know that. I didn't know that.
Living with yourself is also a good thing.
Great. Yeah, I wish
It's
we would
like
get more.
no one has really watched it.
We did a video on it.
Let's get to the movies. I'm going to start off with something that was on neither of you guys' list, but it was on mine. Prince Avalanche, which is a David Gordon Green movie before he started doing the Halloween movies and right after Pineapple Express and Your Highness. He did Prince Avalanche. Paul Rudd, Emile Hirsch. They're just two dudes painting roads out in the late 80s after a wildfire. That's the movie.
I've heard great thing. I heard it. Yeah, it kind of like went under the radar for a little bit.
There's like some scary moments. There's some funny moments. There's some real, just out in the wilderness moments. It's really fun. It's like a low key Into the Wild without. So that's why Emile Hirsch is in it. But it's like a low key Into the Wild without any of the crazy stuff.
And he's got a great mustache in there too.
Oh, it's just Brian Fantana levels. Next, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He's not really into the movie until about halfway through, but then once he shows up, he's like everywhere.
I want to go back to Paul Rudd every single time. Like, just cut back.
It's the best part, and we still, like, every Christmas, I know you and I do, we'll be like, oh, the weather outside is weather. Like, that, his just, like, 5 minutes, I quote it all the time, like, even at home, like, you got some pain behind those eyes. It's so stupid.
He's just a dumb character, and you could tell just everything he is in this movie is just ad-libbed.
Yeah.
There's that moment where Jason Segel walks up and he's like, hey, are you Brian or whatever his name is? He's like, oh, I told him to take that down years ago.
Or all right, lower. No, no, just like low, like just the whole surfboard bit. I'm gonna go watch it on YouTube as soon as we get done.
But that's the beauty of Paul Rudd, isn't it? Is that he is just great at just off the cuff comedy. Speaking of off the cuff, they came together.
Yes. I love this movie so much. It's like a spoof on rom-coms with Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler, directed by David Wayne, written with Michael Showalter, who's like huge now.
It's all Wet Hot American Summer right there.
Yeah,
pretty much. And it's just as silly. Like it's ridiculously dumb, and I love it.
Now, is this the one that it's a lot of, like, it is a lot of just ad lib and
It's
and
all ad lib.
Yeah.
I mean, they had an idea. It's
Yeah.
like it's a rom-com, but there's this whole huge scene with the party. There's some other things that happen. That's the thing with David Wayne movies. This and Wet Hot American Summer, which we're now talking about as well, is like these movies that are just so high concept comedy.
Yeah.
Like where if you're just a casual enjoyer of comedies and rom-coms, you're not going to get most of the jokes because they're trying to be like, they're like winking at you the whole time.
Like, this is how skits work,
Yeah,
right?
like that's how Wet Hot American Summer is. Full-on adults playing camp counselors. And then they go further in the joke when Netflix buys it.
Yeah.
So it's like Paul Rudd is just great at just being this dude that is just like everyone loves. I mean, you can't really find anyone that's like, I don't really like Paul Rudd. I'm sure there's a few people out there that are like,
Hey, my grandma. I don't know.
I just don't get him.
There's people that probably think he's too smarmy, which I get, but all at the same time, that's his charm.
I think it's the Netflix series where he jumps off the motorcycle, right? That is the funniest thing to me. He's just like, I'm gonna be this cool guy, and I'm just gonna ride a motorcycle, jump off of it, and be like, that's it. Like, half of that performance is like just physical things that you're just like, this thing is like, why?
But then it's just small stuff like.
Yeah. But he looks so cool.
Yes.
It's long hair Rudd.
Can't get enough of.
Just a bad boy. Just a bad boy that we could maybe aspire to be.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly. That's the bad boy we want.
We want to be.
Who's nice.
All denim.
Let's keep it on the bad boy train and go the opposite direction and talk about role models. Now, this is a movie that has probably been forgotten to time almost. It's over a decade old now. And
Oh my god.
it's him and Stifler, Sean William Scott. It's a great comedy post Superbad where it's just like riffing, adults helping kids figure out just like life. But at the same time, it's just a great story and like great acting.
So charming. This movie, like most of those comedies back then, probably some things that probably didn't age well. But
Comes with the territory.
this movie, I don't understand why people don't talk about it like they talk about things like Superbad. I think it kind of gets like when you rattle them off, it's like, oh yeah, then role models, you know. But
I think that's why.
Yeah, this movie is so funny. There's so many good bits. The Paul McCartney and Wings bits. The
Starbucks one I really like.
Yeah, the whole like LARPing before LARPing really took off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was around, but like no one knew what it was. The kiss bit, like all of it. Like, there's just things that now, because of this movie and because of Paul Rudd's performance, because he's such a jerk.
Yeah,
Too. He's not even like, he really is just like, this is the worst he's ever been. Just insufferable. You're like, this dude sucks. I hate him. Like, if you're making like Stifler look like good as like a nicer person than you, like, you're a bad dude. Oh, but there's just like so many things that I can't separate now. Like Kiss. Like every time I think about Kiss, I'm like, oh, role models.
Speaking of Paul Rudd making music, I Love You Man.
Like, it's another Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. It was after Forgetting Sarah Marshall, if I remember right. It's a wonderful bromance.
I think I love this movie too. I think the problem with some of these movies, like role models like this, is we weren't ready to, like, the world wasn't ready to buy Paul Rudd as like a lead.
No, not yet.
And that's what happened. Like, these two movies, really great, really charming, a lot of fun, a lot of bits, you know, the whole time. And people weren't ready for that. They're like, no. Because you think about, like, I Love You Man has Jason Segel, Paul Rudd, Rashida Jones, Andy Samberg, J.K. Simmons is in this movie. Just like so many huge people, and people are like, I don't believe that dude is like as a lead yet. And then now he's in like a superhero film, and it's like, I think people were like, yeah, that's just one of the Anchorman guys, like just trying to shoot a shot, just like Steve Carell, you know, but he failed, you know, but he didn't. Slap at a bass.
Slap at a bass, man.
I'm sure that man has heard that so many times.
Oh.
A slap at the bass. All right, next I'm just going to list all of the Judd Apatow related ones. Anchorman, Knocked Up, This Is 40-Year-Old Virgin. They're all in the same wheelhouse of like comedy.
I think Anchorman gets it separate.
It is separate, yes.
Yes.
But Knocked Up and This and 40 are connected because he plays the same character.
You put Knocked Up higher.
I did. Mainly because I think it's a better movie.
But you're not ranking movies, you're ranking performances.
I know, that's where it's like, aren't we?
This Is 40 feels more like it. I mean, it's a movie about his character and his.
He's the lead.
He is the lead. I was telling before we started to roll, Michael, like, this is very. I think I appreciate this movie the more I watch it. The older I get, the more dad I become.
Yeah.
I've had that same that debaser moment and the Alice in Chains moment just kill me every time. The whole Lost thing, like. And I mean, like, Albert Brooks is in this movie. Like, it's just but his performance, I think it's just like him and Leslie Mann just are so good together, and they're just like, you believe that they don't like each other, but also that they're madly in love with each other.
It's what Judd Apatow's good at.
And I would love to see like them come back and do like another one.
Supposedly they are. This
is
50.
Yeah, because again, like, I think it's a performance that like grows on you, even though it's. They're not very likable people, but the older you get, you're like, yeah, my kid's doing the same thing. Or like, I'm trying to like just get away for 5 minutes, you know?
Leave me alone. But Anchorman, he's playing Brian Fantana, just the grimiest dude.
My favorite character.
Just everything. He's like fighting a bear in it. He's got the Sex Panther cologne. We all know it already.
I mean, every time there's breaking news, I mean, I think we all always think, Panda Watch. It's like they told me, like I asked if I could interview the bear. They told me, no, he's a live animal. He will literally eat your face.
Yeah. Let's take it back a little bit before we get to Ant-Man, because
Okay.
we'll talk about
Yeah.
Ant-Man last. But where it all started, basically, not talking about the Halloween movie.
Cider. Let's
Not
talk,
talking about
let's talk about the curse of Michael.
Not going to talk about Cider House Rules. Not going to talk about the movie he made in 2000 with blonde hair.
Oh yeah.
Which one's that one?
Gen Y Cops or something like that.
Oh no.
We're talking about Clueless. Everyone always talks about Alicia Silverstone and Stacey Dash and Donald Faison from Clueless, Brittany Murphy. But let us not forget Paul Rudd, beautiful Paul Rudd with his ugly goatee.
Oh yeah.
That's a gross goatee. And he's like the kind of the worst.
Yeah.
Like you hate him, but he's so charming.
He's
very
reading like Nietzsche and
He's very into Nietzsche. And he's got you've brought up the goatee. I just think about the goatee, the glasses, and the sweater, and he's sitting outside by the pool.
so 90s.
It's just a great movie.
Yeah.
And he's just a good part of it. Like you really do. As weird as it is, they really do sell that it's more supposed to be kind of a sweet, like they're kind of falling for each other, but not. And they don't like.
They didn't grow up with
They
each
didn't grow
other.
up with each other.
Yeah.
They're not. Their parents aren't even married anymore.
Yeah.
But it's and he plays like he rides that line of like brother figure, romantic figure at the end. He's just super charming. But yeah, he is like legit the worst. Like I would hate that guy.
Paul Rudd is just basically playing himself as Ant-Man.
Yeah.
There's literally no deviation. There's the Baskin Robbins bit. He's just, other than being a criminal.
Yeah, but like barely.
But
At the beginning.
You mean where he like steals from the rich to give to the poor?
Exactly,
Like you
yeah.
tell where he takes out like a terrible company? Like
I don't think Paul Rudd does that in real life.
no.
But anyways, he is just basically playing himself, but he kind of has some understanding of time travel.
Is there a better person to play Ant-Man? I love Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
You're right. Are we just watching Paul Rudd be Paul Rudd for 2.5 hours? But like things are wacky.
I think that's why they casted him.
Yeah.
They needed someone that was not the Hank Pym Ant-Man that
Abuser Ant-Man.
the sexual and physical and mental abuser Hank Pym. They needed just a dude that wanted to get small and big sometimes.
And I think they got a somewhat funny actor. I'm coming out from the outside. Funny actor because it's freaking Ant-Man. Like people
That's
like me,
true.
I'm like, what is Ant-Man?
Yeah. He does do that. Like it is. He grounds it in a way that's like, this is crazy, right? Like we're all like,
and he's very good at that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
makes sense.
There are moments where he, breaks out, and you see why Paul Rudd's a great actor.
Yeah.
The scene where he comes back out of the quantum realm to find out 5 years have
Yes.
passed.
Yeah.
But also stuff where he comes up with the solution to save everybody in Endgame. But also, I'm trying to think of other Ant-Man things. The fight with Falcon is like probably the most inventive fight that they had in all of the Ant-Man movies.
That's the fun of Ant-Man. Just like Paul Rudd being like, whoa, that's supposed to be real small.
I'm big now!
Like, who made this van so big, Look at that giant Pez dispenser.
Yeah, but I think they ran out of that joke already.
Yeah, I
so.
guess, yeah.
Now it's dark and dreary.
But yeah, anything else we missed, Paul Rudd? There's just so much.
Paul Rudd ever
He's
had a
always-
real job?
He's never had a real job, I don't think.
More love for Bobby Newport, please.
Bobby Newport.
Bobby Newport.
And the Hot Ones is great too.
Hot Ones, yeah. There's just so much iconic stuff this guy has done.
He's trying to find that like nice like that niche of like I'm Paul Rudd, but it's not annoying.
Yeah.
I'm playing Paul Rudd characters. I'm never gonna play like a murderer.
It's like it's like The Rock, It's like some people just play themselves and they play it forever.
Yeah.
But Paul Rudd does break out of his Paul Ruddness sometimes. I just thought of a movie that is bad, and he's in it. Dinner for Schmucks.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Listen,
Look, they're not all.
I kind of liked it.
No.
when I watched it when I was like in college or whatever, I was like, that's not bad.
It's awful.
It's fun.
It's awful. So yeah, don't watch Dinner for Schmucks. Watch basically all the other movies we listed.
No.
Also watch only his friends' episodes.
Yeah.
You won't really understand what's happening, but just only watch those ones.
Hey, Mike Crapback.
Also watch the Flugen Starve and Club and Dance.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, bye.
Un esercito di prodi